Either Nanook or several Lord Ravagers were watching the battle against Irontomb and did nothing to help the fetus getting jumped by half the cosmos. Why? The story starts right where it left off in ID's Elysiae. Giga Cyrene is waiting for us. She jokes she finally grew after bearing the weight of the memories of 30 million cycles. She talks about how the current cycle we're in and all our friends are now the titans of this world. And look, here comes two titans right now. The world's battle with Irontomb is still thousands of years away in the year 4931, so we're all just gonna have to sleep until then. Along with this reminder, Defying reveals that Irontomb has reacted to the era Nova, devouring 30 million cycles of destruction. Defying and March then peace out to sleep, which leaves us along with Cyrene to go look at water. God, nectar into the earth. You know what? I love water, man. It's... Cyrene states Phainon never made it to the New World. This is again because he merged with Irontomb in the last cycle. Cyrene reveals before we can head out though, she needs to face a memory she has forgotten, so we head to the Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan and Cyrene says she was born here. We're confused at first, and Cyrene then says some fucking Shakespeare bullshit that does little to ease our confusion. Cyrene then looks us dead in our face and tells us the answer to the question of how she could be born in the Great Tomb is written on the wall. And this is what's written on the wall.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Cyrene reveals the narrator of As I've Written is also the audience of As I've Written, which is Cyrene. She then states the first new spore, the demiurge, is this block of floating cubes right here. We then swap to a meeting between Arbiter Generals Jin Yuan, Fei Xiao, and Yao Guang, who states Luocha and Jing Liu are still in jail. The Luofu is the only ship from the Xianzhou allowed to go fight Irontomb. Fei Xiao is concerned about the Luofu potentially getting their hands on golden blood should the campaign against Irontomb go well, given the Luofu's, been a bit of a mess recently. Jin Yuan says, yeah, you're damn right, we're going after the golden blood. Yao Guang states Amphoreus' fate involves eons, so, who knows what's gonna happen. But she doubts that Noose is just gonna do nothing, when Irontomb rises, and then Fei Xiao just sort of goes, these Lord Ravagers, man, they're nasty work. Good luck over there, pal. Over to the Astral Express, Welt says everyone on the Express except for Pom Pom is pulling up to Amphoreus, all the while Herta and Screwlum will attack the Scepter's kernel from the outside. They then warp into Amphoreus and decide to Skype all the friends who decided to join the Takedown Irontomb program. Fu Xuan, Aventurine, and Jade answer the call, but Himiko gets egoed by the Galaxy Rangers. Aventurine reveals Irontomb's virus can affect organic life in a non-fatal manner, but fear not, for the IPC has developed a vaccine that can cover all affected star zones in 24 hours. I mean, man, good luck, bro. Hey, nigga, I've lived through this shit before. These are some hopeful buddies if they think niggas gonna willingly take a vaccine. You gonna tell them to wear a face mask, guys? Himiko then personally calls some others, like Bellabog. I mean, not really sure what we expected this fucking Unga Bunga world to contribute, but, alrighty. We then call Fu Xuan, who reveals the decision to get the Xianzhou involved with Irontomb was handed down by the Marshal herself. A call with Aventurine reveals something interesting. To the surprise of no one, the IPC is splintered internally, but recently, the bad blood between Diamond, which is the head of the Strategic Investment Department, so Jade, Aventurine, Topaz's boss, as well as Waldo, the head of the Marketing Department, has worsened. And this has something to do with the Lord Ravager Archforger catching the attention of the board of the IPC. Aventurine then stops himself, stating he can't reveal anymore. Himiko then heads out with the others and they find the baths deserted and dead quiet, wondering where everyone is. Sunday has a horrible feeling, which is confirmed when Evernight's jellyfish appear. Black Swan gets the 1,000-yard stare look in her eyes. Sunday demands to know what Evernight did to the residents of the city, but Wells and Himiko get a laugh out of this, because, It's March, and March can't hide from them. March then leads the group to Dawn Cloud, which is where the entire city is awaiting the awakening of the world-bearing Titan, which is, us, the Trailblazer. We then wake up and tell Amphoreus to tee the fuck up in the fight against Irontomb. Over to Herta and Screwlum, they're looking for the 13th Titan, which is the Demiurge, as they believe it's the key to defeating Irontomb in spite of Lygus' words that it doesn't exist. Screwlum asks Herta what happens if the Demiurge really does not exist. Herta says then she'll become the backup plan, which does not please Screwlum, who says that plan's cost is way too high. To proceed, we then use a device born of celestial flame, the Manus of Zagreus, drifting between realms, its fingers trailing the remnants of creation.
I hereby rename it Herta's Big Hand.
Right before boarding Screwlum's ship, Herta, who isn't acting like herself, states every time Noos's instant arrives, the universe suffers dearly. This is why she'd rather sacrifice herself than let the instant of Irontomb arise, but Screwlum states he will not let Herta die. We then take Screwlum's ship deeper in, and while taking down the firewall, Screwlum reveals he found remnants of a Stellaron explosion within the scepter. Lygus detonated a Stellaron in the scepter to refashion it into a relay for the destruction, and the scepter's first target extrapolation was the Demiurge. Later, Herta reveals data from Philia 093 or Cyrene shows that Demiurge entered Amphoreus' cycles at one point. This was the 13th Titan that Cyrene kept sharing the stories of to each cycle. After raking through the firewall, Screwlum reveals there are no traces being detected from the remembrance. Herta wonders how this is possible, and they keep going. They head to the Exomyth expecting to find Lygus, but he isn't there. He did, however, leave a message stating he's beneath the tombstone, so, just pull up. Before they head to Lygus, Herta shares with Screwlum she believes the Demiurge has been hiding in plain sight all along, but everyone's mistaking it for something else. The reason their tomb was empty was because they escaped long ago. They then head to Lygus, and they all share the same conclusion that the missing Demiurge is the heart of Amphoreus. The scepter was the heart's vessel, but then, Lygus came along, detonated the Stellaron to hollow out the body and refashion it for the destruction. Lygus then states it's time to reveal the truth about Cyrene's disappearance, which is a lie by the remembrance. We then get a flashback showcasing the Demiurge listening to Cyrene's stories of each cycle in Amphoreus' eternal recurrence. This gave way to a seed of memory being born, which, like the stories so much, it began to form images of the stories as well as insert itself into the stories. This is who Cyrene would tell the stories to. The seed of memory would in turn call Philia 093 or Cyrene Peach. Over the millions of stories Cyrene would tell the seed of memory, it began to grow until it became a bud of memory and took the form of a fairy from Cyrene's stories.
Next, Cyrene has blank space. Oh, Peach, don't be scared. I'll help you find blank space.
The bud began to tackle topics like Cyrene and love, thinking that it would free it from the prison, so it tried to learn from Cyrene's memories to, try to be the best Cyrene possible, but it also didn't want to leave Cyrene. Still, the bud grew into a flower of memory.
I get this feeling that you grew up. Hi. Miss me yet?
And began telling its own stories to Cyrene that it made whenever she visited, because telling stories is what makes Cyrene, Cyrene, and she wants to be like Cyrene. Anyway, the story the Flower of Memory shared with Cyrene was just like a metaphor for its own life and the meaning of love, and Cyrene is just trying to impart unto it the meaning of love. While trying to find the meaning of love by searching Cyrene, the flower learns Cyrene's track is lament. Cyrene explains this is because when hatred separated all and love had yet to exist, all that could keep the destruction at bay for 30 million cycles was lament. Cyrene is now face to face with the flower, and she reveals what her death prophecy was.
You shall fade when the flowers bloom. For every ending begets a beginning.
Cyrene says it's time to say goodbye. The flower says she'll study hard, what she learned for next time, but there's no next time. Cyrene states a deliverer is coming to Amphoreus, so unto the flower she gives everything. Her book, her pen and name, which interestingly she reveals is a pen name. She then tells the flower to, always stay the course of Cyrene.
So my story ends. From here on, it's your story now. Mimi?
The demiurge finally broke free and joined us in this moment, but lost all her memories in the process. Regardless, the Cyrene we came to know, that was with us since the beginning, was the demiurge. Still, she asks us to call her Cyrene, but she's still the heart of the scepter and the key to defeating Irontomb. Lygus would rather not the scepter become whole again, and even Cyrene herself admits she doesn't know what'll happen after she returns, but fuck it. Over with the geniuses, they just recap that Cyrene gave the demiurge memories under the assumption a grown demiurge would be able to fight back against Irontomb because they are the heart of the scepter. Cyrene apparently then completely dissipated after that. The reason the demiurge was able to break free when we showed up was because it resonated with Stellaron in our body. Still, Lygus says the demiurge is too weak to do anything to old Toomey. But even if the demiurge merges with Irontomb and becomes whole again, what'll happen if 30 million cycles of Irontomb's hate combines with 30 million cycles of Cyrene's lament? A giga monster will be born. This is his theory anyway. Herta says his theory is wrong and she's gonna prove it, so they had to check out the fetus Irontomb, and Herta is invoking the backup plan that still has Screwlum uneasy. Xandar says he can't wait to watch this shit, and Herta immediately calls a genius meeting, the 4th time in history this has ever happened. As for the ones who chose to respond, they're Ron May, Acha, Poca Kakamont, and my nigga Dr. Primitive, where's my fucking banana, nigga? Who immediately tells the big woo Xandar was poppin', son. Xandar is not impressed.
What a noisy gathering this is.
Herta announces to others that while the society doesn't really have rules, there's one principle they've all silently, abided by, which is you don't fuck with the research topic of another genius. Unless you're Poca, in which case you kill on those grounds. Herta then says beating Irontomb is her research topic. Should the fight against Irontomb start going horribly, she will take Irontomb's place and interface herself with Noose, rewriting Irontomb's instance. Dr. Primitive laughs and invokes Poca's name, who called Herta bold. Acha asks Herta what happens if her plan works. Herta says she'll move the future of the universe in the direction she wants. Poca laughs at the blasphemy and, all but says she's gonna kill Herta, to which Herta just tells her to fuck off, leaving the first genius, Xandar Kuwabara, to big dick everyone.
What a naive little girl, thinking her wishes will always come true.
What are you laughing at?
I am glad, Herta, we ended up on the same page. No matter if it was to destroy the erudition or to rewrite the instance, we both chose the same road. We will defy the god who marked the limits of humanity.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Then, to celebrate us coming to a fundamental agreement, I will prepare a stage for your performance. Listen well, geniuses who came after me. Thus speaks Genius Society #1. End this pathetic meeting. As of 2 nanoseconds ago, I have passed Herta's decision to all the Xandars in the universe. We will become her representatives and stop all external interferences targeting her.
What are you playing at?
My reasons. It's simple curiosity. That is all, madam.
Am I going to clash blades with the first genius? What a pleasant surprise. Now that our positions are clear, it's time for this boring meeting to end. Good luck, little girl.
Did you all just treat me as a side character? Darn it. But anyways, I'm just here for the fun. As the ghost of the quantum domain, it is my duty to observe.
Lygus then severs his connection to Xandar and pieces out. Screwlum then tells Herta, good luck, little nigga.
Most heroes' journeys in the universe are just dice tosses they threw on a whim. But make them see clearly. Your answer is already different, Amphoreus.
Indeed, for this world so deeply loved, we'll write an ending, unlike any that ever was.
At the Ruins of Time, we just go and pick up, all our Titan friends. There are some interesting readables along the way, like the one which confirms Phainon really did fight the real Zephyro, which is nuts. I really thought he was simulated, but turns out they fought in the path space, so it didn't involve, Zephyria. How the fuck you say his name? People get mad whenever I say his name. Breaking into the scepter. Phainon did lose to Zephyrio, but, if this was all real, surely Phainon's gotta have the craziest feat in the dude swiped like 3 galaxies. No? What the fuck was that? We then head to the Scepter's mainframe. Geniuses show up and say, it's time. Skrullum then reveals Nous has cast their gaze at Amphoreus, meaning the instant is coming. As we head deeper in, we finally reunite with old Phainon.
The epic draws to a close. 30 million cycles of light fading into darkness. Just for this moment. To welcome the true dawn.
We then beat the baby out of Phainon, just cause let's not forget he did merge with Irontomb. My nigga Phainon threw not one punch, you honorable son of a bitch. And then he tells us to take care of business.
Monarch of myriad machines, my ridiculous creation. The instant in your calculations bears the name Destruction.
Who said you could speak, Senior? Watch closely. See how your chaos ends at the hands of your juniors.
Don't get too worked up. Take a deep breath.
There's not a trace of life in that ominous shell.
We're not gonna lose to a hollow husk, right?
In the name of trailblazing, we'll reject this false answer!
We then fight Irontomb and we start winning, until we start losing.
Before the instant of the cosmos is the coronation of Irontomb. Is irrefutable. The right side of the equation, the erudition, falls silent. In 13 heartbeats, they will begin recalculating the universe. With destruction as the only solution.
With that pulse, Irontomb's virus, equation, whatever you want to call it, spread to the universe and it coronated itself, so Herta connected the audience system to the scepter to interface with Noose. The Noose Herta abomination asks us some questions. I say some, I think it's just the same question over and over again, which is, why do you trailblaze, before screaming out, Akavilli! Herta says it worked, so we need to now snap back to reality and find ourselves in the path space with Cyrene, who says Irontomb sent the universe into the Shadow Realm, but there's still hope because Fuli has just gazed at Amphoreus. Cyrene currently sees all the consciousnesses of those who got blasted by Irontomb, and they're all pure seeds that she can hold on to and then create a memory zone or eternal page. We then get the most unintentionally creepy scene in the entire game. I deadass got goosebumps when he said it.
Cyrene.
What are you waiting for, passenger? I specifically came over to check on you in case you got lost. What's the big deal? Hom is the conductor after all. At long last, you've embarked on this road as well. Many years ago, they were standing at the start of the road in hesitation, just like you are now. So, Hom came over to give you one message. Run.
The fuck? Anyway, this was meant to be motivational, but it was just so creepy. We then find ourselves before the seed of memory, or Amphoreus' heart. We then enter the eternal page in the heart, which is just a garden. We then get a glimpse of all the consciousnesses Cyrene stored in an attempt to remember the universe with her. Herta then appears and states the instant News calculated was not Irontomb destroying the universe itself, but rather how the universe would come back after being destroyed by Irontomb. That's the fourth instant. Scrollum then pulls up and states the remembrance must converge with the trailblaze. So we remember some more memories, then Kafka appears and says, we better not fuck this up, because if we do, then the universe will be doomed into the fourth kind of finality, the remembrance, in which only two beings are alive, who are just us and Cyrene. We then absorb even more memories and share, all of them with Cyrene to tread on the path of remembrance. Cyrene reveals when Irontomb nuked everything, Fuli gazed at her and said some fucking unintelligible shit. But it was, then when Fuli gazed at her that she collected all the memories of the cosmos ripped apart by Irontomb and stored them in the garden. Now, Cyrene's plan is to rewrite what Irontomb's virus is capable of from destruction into a blank space. This will be the new Genesis. While heading to complete it, we somehow run into the original Cyrene, who we're meeting for the first time, let's not forget. Our Cyrene and the original Cyrene speak about, some bullshit for about 72 hours before OG Cyrene pieces out. We then get a shot of the Trailblazer being asked a question by the other Trailblazer, asking us why we set out and why we trailblaze. They snap out of it, but are quickly dragged back into it, and the other Trailblazer states they trailblaze because their eyes haven't seen the end yet. Folks, this sounds eerily similar to Akavilli, whose purpose of trailblazing was to find the endpoints of the imaginary tree. Interesting. We then give our answer and are back with Cyrene, and then, using the memory stored in Cyrene's garden along with the power of remembrance, we cheese the universe back into existence.
If the view in your memory ever grows fuzzy, just reach out and touch it. Then, restore its power to nourish the spirit. My friend, on the next page we write together, there's only one thing we need to do. Let's give this long, painful, nearly hopeless tale a truly gentle ending.
Flame chase was never about destruction. It was about breaking free and trailblazing.
And let that bright future be as we've written.
We then fight against Irontomb and win.
To end the destruction with destruction. At last, we can sit together and watch the victory fireworks, partner.
Why not come a little closer? This warmth is proof that we live. Hey, stay strong. Eyes forward, always. This arrow isn't the end, but the beginning of hope.
The conclusion is irrefutable. Noos's answer was never destruction. But they kept silent, leaving the solution in the hands of the cosmos. The universe will keep searching and struggling to endure. In the face of the destruction, it may once again stand on the edge of annihilation. But the stars will always rise to ride the waves and embrace existence once more.
Over to the robots, we find out Herta is fine after interfacing with Noose. Lygus just accepts he's lost, but Screwlum adds Irontomb's fall still isn't sealed because Fully has yet to make their move. Lygus doesn't care at this point, however, and then he just asks Screwlum to take his robot body to Adlivin, which, for those unaware, is where Nanook rose to become the Eon of Destruction. It's his home planet. Lygus says on the planet is an equation left behind by Xandar, so that if Screwlum ever needs to destroy the Erudition, he can use that. But, nigga, why didn't you use that then? Over to us, we awaken on the Express, which is now overrun by Chrysos heirs who are having a damn good time. We link up with Phainon, who reveals the force that maintains the consciousness and form of the Chrysos heirs now comes from somewhere else because, well, Irontomb is dead and the scepter is gone. Interesting. I wonder what that force could be. Cyrene then pulls up and clarifies now that Irontomb and the scepter are gone, Amphoreus only exists in memories. When we carried all the world's memories into reality from Cyrene's garden, the world became a seed as opposed to, one defined by ones and zeros. So it has some basis in reality now. And now it's just waiting to sprout. Apparently all the Chrysos heirs being on the train is simply the epilogue of As I've Written, whatever the fuck that means, man. The book, I'm assuming, is the source sustaining the consciousness and forms of the Chrysos heirs. So when we leave, that's it. We'll never see them again because the book will be over. We promise Cyrene we shall spread the tale of Amphoreus far and wide, and then Donhung and March pull up, who are also in this, dream-like memory, You can at any point decide to wrap up the book, and when you do, all the Chrysos heirs peace out by leaving behind their own inspirational quotes within the book.
Without me, there is no world. Go think, observe, and conquer. What's wrong? Everyone's gone quiet.
Back in reality, we find the book and read it, and find a bookmark with a note from Cyrene who reveals there's an interlude in this book that she's yet to tell us about. She apologizes and asks us to add this to the end of the book. The interlude shows Cyrene meeting Herta in the path space, and Herta reveals the fourth instant Noose calculated is actually a process, meaning the victory against Irontomb was only the beginning. Herta then asks about Fully before stating the mass around Amphoreus is the memory of Cyrene, before stating Fully themselves is a being made from memories because they don't exist yet, because they haven't been born yet. Fully can only ascend at the end of time to remember the universe after it's destroyed. When they ascend and remember the universe, their memory gets stretched into the past, becoming what people call Fully. Their form is an empty shell, and the Garden of Recollection has been keeping this a secret. The candidates for who could become Fully are the pure children of Anosrava, meaning people like March 7th and Cyrene. Herta then states Cyrene now has two options. She can just up and leave and join the Express and journey through the stars, or Cyrene can offer herself to become the memory that is Fully to Amphoreus, which will in turn close the cycle of causality within Amphoreus, thus permanently preventing the rise of Irontomb, as no one, not even the Eons, would be able to interfere in Amphoreus' history. But this means she'll forever have to be trapped in Amphoreus. If Cyrene doesn't choose the latter, there's a chance Irontomb could rise again. Because, well, destruction could just slip into the blank spaces. Cyrene chooses to sacrifice herself and realizes that Fully never gazed at her when Irontomb destroyed the universe. Rather, Cyrene gazed at herself, which allowed her to create the garden and store the memories. Cyrene then journeys back through time with OG Cyrene as her partner, connecting every moment in which Fully made themselves known, getting rid of any gaps that the destruction could slip into to fucking allow Irontomb to rise again. Like, for instance, it was Cyrene who looked at us when we died on Amphoreus, giving us a forum to let us travel, not Fully, but even Orynyx believed Cyrene was Fully. Later, we learned Cyrene learned the bow from March, because memories and fucking hell. Great. Later, we learned Cyrene sent a signal out into the universe, which was picked up by Black Swan, leading us to Amphoreus, because Black Swan was like, oh, hang on a second. OG Cyrene clarifies that Cyrene has to leave behind her mines to plant the first seed for Amphoreus. We then turn the 093 from Philia 093 upside down and make Ego. What? Bro, this game. As we continue, Cyrene places into Phainon's hearts the hero from within, which is literally just a memory of the Trailblazer, which explains why it was just like a one-to-one match. We then come across the ceremonial blade and decide to use it to become the remembrance's anchor for Amphoreus. We're now in Ides Elysiae, which is both the beginning and the end of the journey. By placing the ceremonial blade down, the memories will end and the causality will be closed. Cyrene places the blade and her memories begin to fade, so she and OG Cyrene go rest under the great tree, reading As I've Written until Cyrene falls asleep.
I am the gaze that looks back on the world. How fortunate we are. In this cycle of cause and effect, humanity never looks to the gods for guidance. The ones who pick up the pen and write miracles again and again are always ourselves.
Cyrene then wakes up and asks where Peach, the original Cyrene, went, before realizing she's smaller now, and comes to the further realization that herself, the demiurge, the original Cyrene, and Mem have always been the same person because of the nature of the loop. With the people now returned to the world, Cyrene's journey continues once more, and she's feeling sleepy, but not before remembering Cyrene is just a pen name and not her real name, which is something that begins with Ellie. Probably Alicia, but who knows, man? Could be Ellie Bob. They left some room for interpretation. That's what I like. We then write the ending to the book.
Light, sky, sea, stars, seeds, flowers, birds, hope, and love. Such words of beauty were how I first imagined the world. For as long as I can remember, I've used them to tell the stories of Amphoreus. And now, this is the last one. A story about tomorrow. Dedicated to you.
Once upon a time, morning glow, scattered light, shone on you and I. The fading poems, frozen rhymes, are traces on the breeze, whispers of past reverie. Please let me linger for now, enveloped in your sound. Love on the pages, the ink our stories penned. No matter how it ends, I'll do it all again. Oh, stay true, blossom as spring. life while walking step beside you. So stay true. The winter's rhyme anew, woven memories are blue. And like a melody, sing a song of reverie. Please stay true. Cherish your memory. Go with love, your hearts, your tears, rivers flow. As gardens grow, I hope you bloom in beauty. See you soon. After the end of time, in the mountain frozen rime. Now stay true. Blossom and spring renews, bringing colors every hue. Tomorrow's life are walking step beside you. Now stay true. The winter's rhyme anew, woven memories are blue. And like a melody, sing our reverie. And in our memory, in the end of our journey.
Elsewhere, Mem awakens with no memories, hears a loud thud or explosion, and heads to check it out and finds either a familiar face or a complete stranger. An afterworld quest just sort of confirms Amphoreus and all the Chrysos heirs are waiting to be born with, in the real worlds. We publish As I've Written and spread its story far and wide. Over with Mini Herta, she confirms she and Screwlo managed to save a majority of Amphoreus' data, which means the worlds can be born sooner, but still, when that'll happen is anyone's guess. Herta then confirms that Cyrene made a new Amphoreus from the memory zone, and right now, she's simply sleeping. Yeah, goodbye.